Welcome back to the channel, y'all. Hit the like button and check this out. Y'all wanted me to check out a police chase. This is happening in Chicago, or happened in Chicago.
High-speed chase, Mike. This has been going on for about 20 minutes. We've been listening to the dispatch on Eastbourne. This is a Hyundai SUV that, according to the Illinois State Police dispatch, is wanted for armed robbery earlier this day. This pursuit we heard on the Eastbourne started off the Bishop Ford Freeway. That's 94. Went back and forth in Sibley, went down to the south suburbs, almost a collision about 3 minutes ago where this vehicle, as you can see, an extremely high rate of speed, turned around in Glenwood Dyer Road. Currently, this is northbound 394, and we are about a mile before I-80. This vehicle, I would say at this point, is exceeding about 100 miles an hour. There's one, Max is gonna stay with the vehicle here, so what you cannot see is behind it is the Illinois State Police in several suburbs that are coming up on this as well. Several times they were almost able to get to this vehicle, haven't been able to do it as of yet. Behind this vehicle, there are probably about a dozen squads with their lights flashing. So now we're northbound on 394. There's a lot of interchanges here where this vehicle can go several directions. If they go east, they go towards Indiana. If they go west, they'll head towards the Tri-State Tollway, or they may continue northbound into the city, and it looks like that's their plan right now. So this has been ongoing again. This is a Hyundai, and they're saying from this point that this vehicle was wanted for armed robbery. Now it's heading towards the city, so we're northbound 394. As you can see, driving erratically here. This is the Bishop Ford. This is the beginning of the Bishop Ford Freeway, northbound as we get up towards about 167th Street. Again, a lot of vehicles behind this. This vehicle will eventually maybe head up towards the city, and a whole network is waiting for them. What typically happens here is the state police will notify other suburbs. For example, this is heading up towards Dalton, Calumet City. Those suburbs may enact their people here to try to catch this vehicle ahead. And again, that's almost happened. There was almost a collision down in Lansing near Cottage Grove, down about Glenwood Lansing Road. Again, this vehicle wanted for armed robbery. They did say in the dispatch they believe there are two people inside and they're armed, and they're heading northbound here in the Bishop Ford, right around 159th Street.
And now we are clearly in rush hour too, Mike, and the traffic is getting heavier even as we've been watching this car weaving its way through. He's behind someone right now, just wove his way in front of a semi and is going along the shoulder. So this is a clearly an extremely dangerous situation, particularly with the people being armed. Now, as they get closer to this difficult traffic situation, I know every jurisdiction may have a different rule about a chase. What do you know about what we're dealing with, at least specifically right now, as it deals with the Illinois State Police, since they have jurisdiction on the interstate?
That is a solid point, Marion. So now we're northbound at Sibley Boulevard. City limits are about a mile and a half away. So once this vehicle were to cross over the Cal-Sag, it is technically in the city of Chicago. I can tell you this, though, I'm looking up ahead now, and I see a lot of other vehicles. And again, we don't want to lose the vehicle. This is not an easy shot to keep for our camera person, Max, here, but a lot of squads are up ahead as well. Typically, in this case, because this is on the highway, this is from the Illinois State Police. We don't know where this started from, but it was down here in the south burbs. They will continue to pursue. The city of Chicago doesn't often pursue because they are worried and have had issues before where people not involved in the pursuit have been hit either by the police or by the pursued vehicle, causing damages. So again, let's resum all this up for you. This has been going up and down the Bishop Ford. We picked it up here around 147th in the Bishop Ford. It went all the way down south to Lansing. This vehicle, a Hyundai, wanted for armed robbery. Of course, this dispatch, and again, this is what we call the Steel Bridge here. So now we are northbound in the city limits here, just crossed into the city limits. A lot of troopers here seem to be heading northbound after this vehicle, and now we're northbound of the Bishop Ford. That's I-94 near 130th. You've only got about 3 ramps where you can get off here before you actually get into the Dan Ryan Expressway, and there'll be a lot more traffic there. So northbound right now on the Bishop Ford, right around 130th. We can see two state troopers that are trailing.
They did armed
about
robbery.
half a mile,
Now
but again, this
running.
vehicle has been exceeding on several occasions over 100 miles an hour, driving very erratically. You can see tailgating that SUV that's in the left lane, weaving from the left lane to the right lane, trying to make its way through. So now we're northbound of the 130th, and again, we'll see if they keep pursuing here as this vehicle enters into the Chicago city limits.
And the traffic is getting heavier and heavier, which of course makes this a lot more dangerous. He has come close several times and is weaving in and out of some of these semi-tractor trailers, heavy duty tailgating, and clearly going very, very quickly. That's got to be the major concern right now.
Did he exit?
I think that might have been the exit. He just took the right. Yeah, you're saying you got him right there.
Oh, God.
Right, so we're heading at 130th Street, and here comes, this will be on a westbound 130th Street.
So now we're in the city of Chicago, on the streets of Chicago.
Right, so this is the far southern limit of the city of Chicago. The 130th Street, if you go about a mile south of here, that's where the CalSag is. That is the southern limit of the city of Chicago. The vehicle is now westbound at 130th, heading from the Bishop Ford. Will eventually head towards Indiana. Now, about a mile ahead here is a very dangerous turn where you have to go sharp, basically westbound to Indiana, and then you go north. That is an area that is normally stopped up and a difficult turn, so something might come to a head here near 130th in Indiana. As you keep going, if you keep going westbound here, you'll eventually get back into the suburbs. You can see there's some road work here on 130th.
Oh, now he's going the opposite direction.
Can't show you behind.
He's going the opposite
Where are you
direction.
going?
Looks like it's going to try to turn here.
Don't get
Almost hit another vehicle that's heading eastbound and maybe trying to make a turn. What we can't show you behind this because Max has to stay on the SUV here. Again, that is a Hyundai that is wanted for armed robbery according to ISPR.
Imagine the
now
train
we've got maybe about a half a dozen troopers with lights flashing here going westbound 130th. So we're coming up to that railroad interchange here. This is 130th in Indiana. You go underneath and it will have to turn either right or left here. You've got a lot of vehicles also that come north or south. This is a dangerous intersection as it is. So let's see what the vehicle does here. All right, so it's going to get northbound. This is on Indiana. And again, we're still in the city of Chicago. And then the vehicle, as the state police are getting closer and closer, the vehicle, state police are right behind it as it has to navigate these turns. 3 blocks to 127th Street. We're west on 127th Street, and the police are close behind here. So you'll keep going west on 127th Street, and again, all of this is very, very dangerous. A lot of traffic.
Oh, hell, a school bus?
School bus.
Get out of the way!
Almost went into the back of the school bus.
Get out of the
way!
way!
School bus here.
Turn on the
put
the thing
Let's
out.
hope that school bus isn't occupied with kids. The vehicle able to get by here as the police continue this pursuit. This has been ongoing. We've been listening to this, I believe, since about 4:15. It's been ongoing.
It was armed robbery,
and
they're
again,
just running from the scene.
Probably north and southbound of another 15 or 20 minutes and maybe about 20 to 30 miles here. Went from all the way from where we are now near 130th, and now this vehicle is really picking up speed in the straightaway here on west of 127th. Went all the way down to Lansing, almost collided with a few vehicles, came all the way back north on the 394 here to the Bishop Ford. Now we're on 127th. There is an officer waiting for this vehicle here at 127th and Halstead, and that is coming up in a matter of seconds here, so we'll see what happens. They have to stop for the light at Halstead in traffic, and there is another squad that is right there.
Just missed
that, I believe that's Calumet City. That's coming in at 127th and Halstead. You'll notice that a lot of the pursuees here are either Illinois State Police or suburban jurisdictions here as this vehicle keeps going to 127th Street. Now again, we're in a city limits situation where we're going to cross I-57 in a matter of minutes here. The north side of I-57 here on 127th Street is Chicago.
Thanks, Elena.
South is
Y'all hit that
Blue
like
Island.
button.
127th westbound. And
subscribe if you happen to be new. Let's get some people in here. But this is crazy.
Even with traffic, we're at 127th and Troop.
We've never done the chase videos, but I like it.
All the way.
I get anxious as hell though. I'm like, oh
God. Towards I-57.
Oh, don't do it.
This is a busy intersection. 127th and Ashland here. We're by the expressway.
Oop, Mickey D's.
Now we're crossing I-57, turning northbound here. Let's see if they jump on northbound I-57 towards the city here.
Where are they
This
going?
is a very frightening situation. And at what point do you think there may be a shift in tactic here, Mike? I don't know. We don't know how far back they are because you can't change, and we don't want you to change the shot.
We've seen them gotten close a couple times, but you imagine a significant amount of coordination between the agencies here to try to communicate a possible path of where this person might go, even though there doesn't seem to appear to be any sort of plan. It, of course, got way more dangerous when you get off the interstate because it's much more close quarters, and one slight miscalculation can mean a really bad crash. And then you also have this as well, getting back on I-57.
And you've got this speed, and anytime you've got this level of speed, the slightest mistake can be deadly. And it's a very frightening situation for those around them. They can't necessarily see what's coming. And this guy's definitely this person is definitely driving erratically on the shoulder.
There is a large curve that's coming up here that, again, is another dangerous situation where I've covered a lot of accidents. Northbound 57, when you go north of Monterey to 111th Street, there's a big curve that comes up on 107th Street. If you're driving without traffic, it can be very, very dangerous. And then we're about a mile away from this either turning into the Dan Ryan, and I don't want to predict here, but if I had to, I would say this vehicle will probably head east as 57 goes east and then go right back south on I-94 rather than heading into the city. They are still pursuing very vigorously though behind.
You are crazy as hell. Pull over.
That are trailing here as safely as they can. They're basically about a quarter mile behind. We also see squads now above on 99th Street.
Oh, that's snow!
There's that curve there. It's going underneath 107th Street on the right shoulder. You saw that Chicago squad going eastbound. They're all communicating in what's called the Eastbourne.
Man, you are crazy as hell driving in that.
Situations like this with each other. Look at this vehicle picking up speed now. Northbound to the 103rd.
Oh, God, I'm too anxious for this.
I-57 on the shoulder. This is going to make a northbound turn, and if you ever drive I-57, this is the turn around Halstead in a matter of about 10 seconds here.
Oh, God, I can't handle it.
Right.
Oh, he's about to hit a wall.
Towards the Dan Ryan merge. They just said on the dispatch
what do y'all think?
That they said there was a male inside, and again, this vehicle is wanted for armed robbery earlier in the day. They're saying there's a male and a female inside. They believe that the people inside this vehicle are armed.
Riveting to watch this, but so frightening.
Dumb.
And I worry, honestly, the most about the people that they are approaching. They have no idea what's coming their way, except someone that's moving very quickly. And how many times have you been on the expressway and had some really fast driver come up on you and scare you, and your reactions become critical? So it's really a frightening moment right now just to watch this and where they're going to go and how police can even manage this. How, what kind of strategies they have to use to try to be able to handle this situation, because we have seen what happens when these chases go horribly wrong.
And in a crash. Yeah, and that's so often the case.
Exactly. Now we're on the Dan Ryan. So now they just went north on the Dan Ryan, and as we all know, a lot more traffic on the Dan Ryan. So now northbound, really again picking up that speed here. Northbound Dan Ryan, we're going to come up on 95th Street here.
You know what the craziest part is?
Northbound.
The news helicopter can keep up with you and knows where you are.
There's a red line at 95th Street. You'll see the vehicle come out of the other side of that.
You think the police
can't?
You've
got the Dan Ryan. Now, again, what's different from the Dan Ryan than the other expressways, you've got exits basically every 4 blocks here. So they can exit 87th Street, 79th Street, 74th, 71st. You get the idea. Eventually, you can head all the way north, and we don't see any traffic on the northbound Dan Ryan all the way up until about where the Stevenson is. So again, this is another area where this vehicle, a Hyundai that is wanted for armed robbery, can pick up a large amount of speed.
You are crazy as hell.
And now we're exiting again here. Let's see. We are at 87th Street. So
where are you going to go?
At 87th Street.
Just yank across.
So you're getting into a residential area, and
that's houses,
this is rush hour still, and who knows what the
do not
circumstances
enter.
are.
That's a
School
one-way.
is in session,
You
so
idiot.
there are potentially schools nearby that could be part of the problem. They're on residential streets now where you don't have, you have to slow down at each street to make sure that you don't run into anybody a lot of times on these
He's going the wrong way.
So there could be pedestrians making their way. Fortunately, it's cold. Maybe not as many people may be out walking the streets, but still, you're in a residential area, and he's still going well beyond the speed limit. Maybe not 100 miles an hour, well beyond the speed limit.
And again, you see it right here as opposed to the expressway where it's open. these are
God.
residential streets, and you don't know what's coming up.
Right.
And this
That
could
car is like,
absolutely
what
cause
the
collision.
hell?
I believe we're off of State Street or maybe a block off of this.
Man, I'd have
They
so
got
much
off
road
at
rage
87th Street. Went
if I
about
saw
a
some
block,
idiot doing
so
this.
we are about
Oh,
80.
what are you doing?
Coming up
Oh,
maybe
speed
about
bump.
83rd Street here,
just saw him go
northbound on
over-
this residential street.
Yeah, you just saw him go over a speed bump. So you're in a clear residential street dealing with speed bumps. Makes it even more frightening. I don't know. I hope people are watching, or they can alert people. And that's one of those things. There's no way for drivers and residents necessarily, unless they're watching
school?
television right now, to know what's going through their neighborhoods, and other drivers as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right,
now
and I
you're
think
going to
these
stop
speed
for the
bumps
truck.
are here because we're off of State Street here, and again, now the vehicle is heading eastbound. But those speed bumps are there because a lot of people take those as alternates for the Dan Ryan and tend to exceed the speed limit there because they think, well, I want to save time getting off the Dan Ryan. Now the vehicle heading eastbound here, and I believe we're on around 83rd Street, and trying to stay with this.
Uh-oh.
I'm not sure, and I was looking behind here. We're trying to figure this out. I'm trying to figure out if the state police or the people have been pursuing even know where this vehicle still is. They may have lost him because I'm trying to look behind as we stay with the vehicle, which I believe
The news caught him.
83rd
The
Street,
cops lost him.
and they may have lost the vehicle. So if anybody's listening in, this looks like east on 83rd Street. We're about a block or two from Martin Luther King, which is 400 east here. Again, that vehicle bailed off the Dan Ryan, and I believe this is coming up on MLK now.
Look at that. Just
And went eastbound across MLK. So that was Martin Luther King here, and eastbound, I believe, again, this is 83rd Street. And again, Mary,
now
as
you
were
just
talking
decide to
about,
drive slow and brake.
This is a residential area where speed limits are about 20 or 25 miles an hour. You've got a stop sign almost at every light here. Now the vehicle going northbound, so we're at about 600 east here, northbound, and a very residential area. And now
Mary,
we're
it's
parked.
not live at this moment.
So the vehicle has pulled in front of a home here. We're about 2 blocks east of Martin Luther King here, and we're north of 83rd Street.
Look, they just get out, start walking.
Looks like somebody got out of the vehicle. What's that, Max? The cameraman's talking. Okay, so we've got one person that got out of the car that's behind that tree there, and we see in the center, and then one person that is still in the car. And we can just see what happens here, but what we don't see, and we talked about this before,
you gotta go, you gotta go.
in the city of Chicago, we didn't see those lights that we saw all throughout the expressway. We've been very focused on the Hyundai here that, again, was wanted for armed robbery.
He just did.
So the vehicle is parked here, and again, we're about 2 blocks east of Martin Luther King. Got back in the car here now, and just north of 83rd Street. And again, don't see any police moving in at this time. Let's see if the vehicle stays here or continues to move on.
What are they doing?
Allison Rosati with Stefan Holt here. We want to
close
thank
the
Marion and
door.
Alex for their coverage. This is very surprising, especially after the high speed that this car was traveling at with the armed suspects inside, that they would take time to park. Do you have any eye on any type of law enforcement nearby, or is this pursuit over?
So the lights that we saw flashing on the expressway, and again, if you're just joining us here, as the vehicle parks again, this one up and down 394 and up and down the Bishop Ford Freeway, there were lights the whole time. Those lights appear to be gone. Now there is a vehicle, let me count my streets here, that's coming off of 83rd Street as there's 2 people inside this vehicle. Get out there on the sidewalk. There are squads that are starting to come west on 83rd Street. So we are, let's see, I think we're about a block east of Martin Luther King. I do see squads, and again, we can't show you that shot here because
they're splitting up. One person's going one direction, the other's going in the other.
Right, one person's gone in different directions there. There are squads moving in. So we're in an apartment complex here.
Again, we've been holding our breath.
And we just saw
watching
something
this
being
vehicle.
thrown over the fence too, yeah.
And now,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I hope that people who are watching in that neighborhood there can find a way to stay sheltered, since we do know, as you've been reporting, Mike Lorber, that these 2 are armed. And they are suspects in an armed robbery from
That's what they
earlier
pursued.
today.
I'm going to ask you, you can see there's a squad that just went right by him right now. And he threw something on the ground. Nick, if you can hear me, our pilot, has the Chicago Police Department helicopter, are they up flying over this? So the Chicago Police helicopter has been flying about this as well, and we've been so focused on these people that have been winded. That is important because they have the same perspective we do, which means that they, from the air, can direct the Chicago Police Department down below here to where these people are.
It's just freezing.
So this is the man that we saw get out of the vehicle. Again, this was a Hyundai that was wanted for armed robbery. The Illinois State Police Network, and there you go. There's a squad pulling up right now.
Oh.
And let's see if we have a foot chase here. I believe we're on 83rd Street, and I believe somebody is about to be taken into custody.
Remarkable, walking
they
so
got
casually
one of them
down the street. It looked like they were on a cell phone, and that Illinois State Police car just rolled up real fast and got out and told him to get back onto the sidewalk there. I'm watching another officer approach there.
I have to say, I was
so this has come to an end.
Concerned because of the fact that there was an armed situation, that there might have been somewhat of resistance or a shootout. So thank God this appears to be ending peacefully with the suspect taken into custody.
You know what's crazy though?
I believe
you
we
ran
are 83rd Street and Martin Luther King.
He ran from them in the car, but
so
on
again,
foot he's just like,
we're in custody.
Yeah, what's up? Okay, cool.
Mike, just to confirm, we saw two people get out of that vehicle. This was the one gentleman who turned to the right of the camera. The other person went left. Do we have any idea on what happened to that person?
We don't. And Max, I'm going to ask my camera person because Max was following as well. We saw the other person go in the other direction, eastbound. That was off of 83rd Street. That's correct? All right, so just to sum all of this up very quickly, this pursuit went on for about 30 or 40 minutes. It was off of the Bishop Ford I-94, went all the way south to Lansing near about 183rd Street, Glenwood Dyer, came back north on 394, all the way into about 127th Street, across to I-57 into the city, bailed off the Dan Ryan at about 83rd and went residential. Police lost the vehicles after a while. They parked, then went north on around 83rd Street.
Gosh, should we find another one?
Parked vehicle, one person inside.
Chat, what do you think?
Westbound.
Should we find another one?
That's the person that's been taken into custody. Looks like a man at this point. Another person went eastbound, and that person, we don't see any other squads eastbound, but they'll probably still look for that person there. This was a Hyundai that was wanted for armed robbery. One person is in custody here after a long pursuit at 83rd and King Drive. And again, we've talked about it over and over again. We thought there may be a collision. This vehicle several times driving.
They ended up just parking it. Thank God.
No collision. A lot of Illinois State Police, Cook County Police, more squads are coming into the area here near 83rd. And
they gotta find that dude.
Nothing short of a miracle in the fact that that high rate of speed in that police pursuit, there were no collisions, and even next to a school bus. I don't know about you, but I was holding my breath when it went around the school bus.
Too close,
right? Oh, look, they're going to find the other dude.
Mike Lorber and your crew up there in Sky 5 following this pursuit and what appears to be an arrest. And
no, the other way.
Not sure about
he
the
went the other way.
Person that was in that vehicle, if that person has been apprehended.
Oh, Lord have mercy. That is crazy. All right, hang on. Let me find another one. Let's find another one. Police chase. Well, let me do live. I wonder if there's anything crazy happening. No. That was the one that happened last night. There was a guy in Colorado who was carjacked. Oh, hell. Let's see. Let's see. It's just like news about that. I'll find another one, y'all. I'll find another one. I'll come back on. Look up I-70 Snowplow chase. Okay, hang on. Let's do that then. Oh, I see it, but it's just like a little... I see that. I see people talking about that, but it's like a 1-minute video. That is funny. C dot plow driver stop suspect in police chase. That's crazy. Oh, see, these are from like a year ago. Three weeks ago.
And again, you can see exactly why. This is just such a dangerous person behind the wheel.
There he is.
There he goes. There he goes, losing control a little bit. He got rear-ended there, T-boned by that oncoming traffic there at the intersection, losing control of the vehicle into the curb. Looks like the airbags went off. I believe the air is
Yo,
that
this
a
one's
reflection
in
or those airbags?
LA.
Those are airbags.
Yeah.
Those are airbags that have been deployed inside that vehicle as he starts to slow down, losing control of the vehicle, crawling to a stop. Here comes the sheriff's department, and I believe maybe, yeah, those are all sheriff's deputies pulling up behind him now. This may be coming to an end as he has lost control of this vehicle and may be unable to see out the window as those airbags have been
damn
deployed.
airbags
it also
went out.
looked like the back end got squirrely on him when he was hit right in the driver's side back seat tire, the back tire. And it might have deflated it because it certainly looked like he could not control the vehicle. But Chris makes a great point. He might not have been able to see anything either.
That's true.
Yeah, once he went through that intersection, got kind of T-boned in the right or
at
the
the
left
part
rear.
that says keep
that
clear.
was when he started to lose control and never really regained his composure there. And you can see now, even from this angle, the airbags on all four sides. I can't tell if that steering wheel airbag was deployed, ironically, but you can see his hands still on the wheel there. You see those hands? It appears his hands are still on the wheel. And these deputies now giving him instructions to step out of the vehicle, but it does not appear as though he is complying. Right now, we've got two black and whites, deputies with their guns drawn. Only 2 units out here. They may wait for third and fourth or other backup, mutual aid possibly, before they actually approach this vehicle, unless he continues the pursuit. We do not know whether that was enough to kind of activate that inertia switch.
Get him to stop.
I believe he still had some gas there as he was accelerating through the intersection, but it does appear that, at least for the time being, this vehicle
These
is
are fun, y'all.
Well, his hands are still on the wheel. Chris, can you tell us about traffic that's heading in the direction of this? Have they been able to stop traffic coming on this? So who's affected by this standoff right now? Actually, I was looking down screen if you look.
Right, so there's a little bit of traffic. We're just on the north side of the 134, and there is traffic coming to a stop, but very little traffic, quite frankly. You can see a third unit now pulling into position here. Now they are better equipped to potentially execute this felony stop. However, they are not going to approach that vehicle until he shows signs of surrender, and right now he is not giving up, and for all they know, he could very well continue driving this vehicle down Vineland Avenue. So and the next step here is going to be actually getting
should I make a new stream
ahead of him
that has the name of this chase on it so people don't think this is Chicago when it's clearly not?
Still has hands on the wheel there. We've lost sight of his right hand, but his left hand is still on the steering wheel as we hope, and we can only hope, that this is coming to an end here. But you know, all bets are off with this guy. He has shown very desperate measures to flee officers and has already put numerous lives in danger, causing lots of damage and havoc here in the valley. And we can only hope that this is coming to an end.
Yeah, and only hope that that car is enabled, perhaps, like you were talking, disabled rather, you know, from that collision earlier on.
I couldn't really tell. It almost looked as if the car is sitting off balance in that back end. I can't really tell
like that
from the look, but that back side looks like the tire is damaged. You can almost see rubber hanging out the edge there, and I know your spot is kind of difficult there, Chris.
We're going to come around. You raise a great point. We're going to come around and get a better glimpse of that left rear end. And you're right. I have a feeling he may have struck the wheel, which really not only damaged the axle or the right rear of the vehicle and the control of the vehicle, but it may have actually had the effect of a pit maneuver. Kind of, that would be what the deputy behind him would have done if he was executing a pit maneuver. He would have slapped right into either the left or right side of the rear, which would have activated that inertia switch, consequently bringing the vehicle to a stop. And that may be what happened as he came to a slow crawl. Otherwise, I can't see any other reason why he has come to a dead stop here. And now as we get a better glimpse here, they are unable to see inside that vehicle because of those airbags. They are working in the blind here because of those airbags. We are getting a better glimpse probably than they are as we look through the front windshield. But another unit there, looks maybe an undercover officer behind those units. You can see deputies waving off other traffic at this intersection, still trying to gain control of this general area because they do not have, it's kind of a precarious spot here. That's a residential street that this has come to a stop at the end of Hortense Street and Vineland Place here in North Hollywood. We're just north of the 134. And they are trying at all costs to keep the public at bay.
Yeah. We're watching on the right side of your screen, by the way, the collision earlier when he sideswiped a car through that intersection. And there you have it right there. And that's when we believe that the back rear tire was disabled somehow.
And then you could see in that video how he just getting out. And again, we don't know if he was unable to see because of the impact of those bags, but he did. It was uncontrollable there for a moment, which could be why he's just sitting there. Because if it was a vehicle he could not control, then he knows that if he starts moving forward, he's not going to be able to control that vehicle again. And it did look out of alignment when we saw from Chris's when he moved around.
Not seeing this.
Keep in mind. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, keep in mind, we still, even at this juncture, do not know what the original charges were against this person. We know that there have been charges kind of stacking up over the course of this pursuit, including failure to yield. But what exactly led to this pursuit? What other crimes have been committed here? It certainly seems like a lot more than just a traffic stop. So some unanswered questions yet to be known, at least from our position up here at this point. But certainly a desperate and dangerous individual behind the wheel. The best thing we could say is that it does appear from this vantage point that he looks to be alone in the vehicle. It did not see anybody in the passenger seat, and we can only presume that perhaps that back seat might be empty as well. But right now, we only are aware of the driver behind the wheel of what appears to be a Ford sedan.
And we're still seeing him in the front seat, not too agitated, just barely moving his hands now, keeping his hands on the steering wheel at times, but we'll see how quickly he surrenders. And we're going to continue to monitor this. Right now, we are coming up on World News Tonight, which we are going to go to. That will be live with David Muir, World News Tonight. But we're going to continue to cover this. It will be on our ABC7 Los Angeles app. So we'll be able to show you how this concludes. You see that they're starting to turn some of the traffic around. They're also trying to keep people out of the line of fire should shots need to be fired. For Ellen Leyva, I'm Philip Palmer. This has been Eyewitness News at 3. Thanks for watching. We go now to World News Tonight with David Muir.
I think they go to the chase, actually.
Live on ABC7.com right now, the ABC7 Los Angeles app, and you're watching the end of a pursuit right now. We hope is the end. At least this person is not giving up in this vehicle. We believe the car has been disabled somewhat after like a collision through an intersection not long before that.
And Chris Christie is in Air 7. And Chris, you have a better perspective as to what is in front of those officers, because we watch one officer continue, the deputy, waving people away. At first, I thought maybe it was people that were thinking about entering that intersection, but it could be that they're trying to keep people out of the line of fire. Yes? I mean,
not on the scooters. Y'all, it's going to end this stream and pick up on a new one with this name real quick. It should just automatically send you over. 2 seconds. I'll be right back.